There you are. Welcome back. So, if you're here, I assume that you've already seen my part 1 and part 2 of my video. If not, check them out. It's going to be a very lengthy video. If you're looking for a specific tutorial on OBS button making, look at the timestamp. All right? Timestamp below. That's your friend. Timestamp below. If you're here for the free page giveaway, timestamp right there. Check it out. That being said, welcome to this OBS Touch Portal tutorial. Let's get it.
Here we are, and here are the options of your OBS. It's going to be a little bit tricky because it's a lot. First and foremost, we have set profile in OBS. So in OBS, this is my OBS screen and I'm recording using OBS right now. There is a profile right here. Because I'm recording, I can click that one. You can actually preset a specific profile. So the profile will save in OBS what is your audio output, your video canvas proportions, would it be 720 or 1080p, so on and so forth. So that's it. If you click this, it will toggle in between. If you want to say TD original, when you click that button, it will go to TD original. If we say TD recording, it will switch it to TD recording. But because I'm recording, I don't want to mess up my actual recording right now, so we're going to skip that part. Next is scene collection. All right. Scenes collection are a collection of scenes. However, I don't have anything as of the moment. I have something that's untitled. That's why I only have something that's untitled that I can select for the moment. That being said, we can now proceed to source visibility. So source of visibility implies that there is a visibility in your sources. Say, for example, right here. Your scenes are composed of sources. Therefore, currently, I am under my primary monitor nests, and I only have 2 sources, okay? So let me delete that action right now. Let me put in a view, enable view. So let me put something on the side, okay? Let me put a primary monitor, boom. All right, now that I have put in a primary monitor, you can see me on the primary monitor right there, all right? See me? Hello. And you can also see that one on the primary monitor OBS scene right here, which is the primary monitor. We can now use the source visibility option to go to toggle, go to the scene, which is my primary scene right now. My primary scene is Nest primary monitor. And then from there, the source, you would see my cam, okay? What this does is, if I press this button, right, it will tune me out or disable, toggle it, because right now it's showing. There's an eye on beside the icon. If I press this, let me press this, boom, I'm not showing again. If I press this button again, boom, I'm showing again. This is one of the options that is used whenever we do effects, right? On my season 1 or on my part 1, these are the effects that I usually use. That's one of the secrets, actually, for summoning an effect and then turning it off and on. You can also do a combo with the toggle. Say, for example, I can duplicate the action, and I would say this one is to hide, this one is to show, right? So I would, or I would say show and then hide, okay? In between, I can put in a logic to say wait for a timer. Say, for example, wait for 2 seconds, right? So we'll save it down. Once that's down and I press this button, you will see me disappear. There you go. Another one, I press myself again. You would see me for 2 seconds and then disappear. Neat. All right, that said, we can now proceed. I've shown you source visibility. Now we can set source filter. So source filter, again, if we're going to scroll down here, we have sources here, and filters. Filters are actual effects that we apply on sources. So say, for example, in my lavalier mic right here, I do have filters preset. These are the actual filters that I apply with my mic. I have a noise suppression, I have a compressor, and then I gain. So if I do that portion, and I can look at the source, look for my source, which is my lavalier mic right here, and then I can go for the gain. I can toggle it on or off, right? So let's say I'm doing off, save it down, and I'll show you what effect it has on filter. Click test, boom, see the gain turned off. All right, I want my gain so you can hear me, okay? Nice. So we were talking about setting the source filter on and off. Now, one of the things that you can do with that specific action is to use it to turn off and on specific source filter that is linked to a specific effect that you have in OBS. Example, let me show you what I mean. Let me pull up my cam right here. Boom. And from there, I also put up a PNG, which is a photo of wow, right there. Boom. Now, I put in a specific effect into this PNG. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to set the source filter. Since this is a source, a PNG, this PNG is a source. We're going to put in a source filter. Let's look for our scene. We are on primary. Boom. Then filter, we can actually, the only filter that I set is scroll, and I can say turn on. All right. That being said, can also put a combo in it to say wait timer, put in 3 seconds, duplicate this action, and I'll say turn it off. Now, to show you what we are working with on OBS, this is what we see in OBS as a filter. I have a preset for wow, and I have a filter for wow with a scroll on this side. So now it's just a matter of clicking the button. So let me click the button in 3, 2, 1, test. It's scrolling, and stop. It's only set for 3 seconds. Let's do it again, because it's fun. Neat. Right. Now that's done. Scroll that over here. I'll be removing to you and looking at you in this cam instead. Boom. Right. Now that's done. That's how we can utilize the actual scroll function or the turning source filter on and off. There are a plethora of source filter out there, so take your pick. The next one is to set scene filter. Now, as you know, there are actual filters that can only be applied on scenes, not sources. Some filters can only be applied in sources, vice versa. In this specific example, let me bring back my main cam. Boom, right there. And I have put in a specific filter. Let's put in a filter there, which is blur. I put in a filter for blur. And this is what it looks like with the blur filter on. Now it's off. Right. We can do the same as what we did a while ago. So to demonstrate, set filter, scene. Since this is a nested filter, what I mean for that is that all of my cameras are linked to a specific scene. So in that specific scene, there's only one camera. And then if I need to have that camera feed, I just take that scene and put it on all other scenes. So it's a nested scene version. In that way, if there is something I need to fix in my camera, I just need to go to my source nest or the source scene and fix it there, and retroactively all the others would be fixed. This is your tip number 2. Tip number 2, there's only one filter available here, and it's the blur. We'll do it on, and then I'm going to do the combo again. Let's do seconds, 3 second, duplicate, and this time we'll do off. Take yes. All right. We'll see in 3, 2, 1. Click it down, and there's a blur. You can't see me, and I'm back. Simple. Now, what's next is the streaming state. Streaming state is very simple. This is how you start streaming. So you have your start or stop. Similar to what we did with turning on and off specific items, shut down or log off or lock it down. This is basically it. I can't start streaming because I'm recording through OBS. So that's done. We can now go to set record state. Record state would be either start, stop, or pause or play. So you can set those items here. You can dedicate specific buttons in case you want in your OBS or in your touch portal system. You can also set a specific volume. Now, as you know, for this scene, I am using my primary monitor as my scene, and my source is a lavalier mic. I can set my scene to my volume to 30%. Click yes, slide this over again. Now, as you can see, I'm on this range. If I click test, it will go down to by 30% or 30%. Easy. What's next is to go mute source volume. I skipped over that one. Sorry about that. It's simple. You can mute or unmute. Now, this issue sometimes happens wherein your OBS source doesn't detect your OBS. One simple trick to pull, especially if you already know that your OBS is connected with your touch portal, is to put in another action, preferably the same action. So just put it that way. And that way you can actually see all of my OBS source right here. As you know, I have my lavalier source, lavalier mic as my source. Okay, here it is. Save. Again, in my lavalier mic, wherever your lavalier mic is, because it's not scene dependent, it will mute your lavalier mic. Example, if I click my lavalier mic, as you see, this portion turns to red, meaning it doesn't pick up any inputs. Neat. Next, we do have, after setting the stream state, record state, we have the mute, set the volume. We can now increase or decrease the volume. Same thing as what we did a while ago. Let's do 1 here and 2 here, for example. I want to say 1, I want to do increase volume. It will try to find an audio source, and this time we're going with lavalier mic by increase the volume by 10. Save. The other one, lavalier mic, decrease the volume, lavalier mic by 10. One way to test it out, as you could see, I have it here. Click 1 to increase, click 2 to decrease. Boom. Easy. We can now connect to OBS. Now, connect to OBS, this is just a function in Touch Portal to jumpstart the connection between your OBS and Touch Portal. However, if you've noticed that I mentioned on my first video, you can also set your settings here, just as a recap. Click on OBS and set it to auto. This means that whenever your OBS is open, it will auto-connect into Touch Portal, or Touch Portal will try to auto-connect with your OBS every time it's open. So if you don't want that set, you need to press a button or make sure that you click this button on top right here. Connect with OBS. All right, now that's done, we can proceed. From there, we have set studio mode state. So studio mode state, remember that there is a button here, studio mode, wherein you can see both studios or like your transition screens, the screen that you're playing and the preview screen. However, because I'm recording, I don't want to risk it, so I'm not going to put that option in. You just have 3 options: enable, disable, and toggle. Toggle is toggling between enable and disable, so there's that. We have your transition to set the preview scene. So this one, since in studio mode, you actually have a preview scene and a live scene, right? So your OBS preview scene, you can select a scene that you want to put into preview, meaning that you want to put on standby to transition into the live mode, right? Then from there, say for example, you want to do a my main one, you can click your test button right here, and then it will prop it up on the preview scene. And then your next button would be your transition to live. That means that your preview will then transition to live. But because I'm on recording mode right now, I can't show that to you as of the moment. But you can try this at home, it will work. And from there, we had your set replay buffer. So I have your replay buffer state, start, stop, toggle, or save. very self-explanatory. If you're already doing some replays, OBS replay by shortcut keys, it functions similarly in that manner, only that we can use touch portal to save it down. Easy. From there, you have your screenshot to file. So you can set it to take a specific screenshot of your scene. Say, for example, if you're playing on main, then you can set it to take a screenshot of main. Or let's say right now, I want to take it a screenshot of, say, the main cam that we have right now, which is primary monitor. No, not the primary monitor. Let's do primary monitor. We are at the primary monitor scene, right? Yep. And from there, it can save as a specific format, which is PNG. We can save to file. Save to file, say here. We can save, say, PNG. What is a PNG photo that I can do without? Let's say this one, MTG of 480 by 25. All right, save it as that. Yes, we want to replace that. Save it down. If I click test, take a photo of this, and it will go to, let's go to that photo, pictures. Then we can go to the lists, date. There you go. All right, I found it. So it's here, 480 by 20. You may say that this has already been pre-saved, so I'm going to open it up, show you what's inside. This is what's inside. And then let's add something up. Let me add my main cam right here, and let's click test. Boom. Once it's done, it's going to save that specific photo. There you go. Easy. This is very useful when you're trying to clip or do a snapshot of your actual cam right now, or your scene. Mostly this is done when you're playing or your main playing scene. On my end, if it's MTG, I want to snapshot a photo of, say, for example, the entire hand of my opponent when they reveal it to me. So I can snapshot, click a button on touch portal without going through clips, or like basically like the snipping tool, which is this one. Without going through that, you can click one button and there you go. All right, let's proceed to the next option or action on OBS. Now, these ones are going to be a little bit tricky. These are called media sources. All right, let me show you what we're working with. So in OBS, touch portal, there is something called media source play and pause, restart, stop, next, and previews. Ideally, let me show you what it pertains to in OBS. Ideally, this pertains to the media option right here, media source. That's the reason why they have the media source option, or they also can work on the VLC source option. However, for whatever reason, guys, unfortunately, I have been testing this on my setup. It was not working. Not an issue though on my end, because usually what I use the VLC player for or the media source player for is to come up with effects. And what I do is I actually get them when they're or I set them up in OBS so that when this source is made visible, it starts to play. So let me show you what I mean. So let me remove this one from the deck, and you should see something pop up right now, coming up. Say, for example, Billions by Austin Powers. So if I click OK, it will start to play in 3, 2, 1.
Why make trillions when we could make...
Know what I mean? So we don't really need that. We can just use the set source visibility or source filter visibility, either or, and we can set the properties to restart playback when sources become active. That's what we do. And you can also set it to loop. But for now, I don't think that's required. However, if you were able to make it work on your end, please feel free, drop me a comment in the section down below, or jump into my stream. So we now come into the events. So as I made mention a while ago, I usually pair this one up with button specific effects. So from top to bottom, we have on record state. This is just basically saying that, oh, in OBS, if the record state is started, or stopped, pause, or resume, this is what you will do. Usually what I do is that if it is starting, then I would say go to visuals, and then I want my button to reflect, say for example, I want a button to reflect live along that lines. When it's starting, I can also copy the when function. This is a shortcut. You can also click the OBS when function or the event function on recording state. You can add it again when it has already started. Copy selected action, paste action. So in OBS, it takes a little bit of time to start recording. That's why there is a slight buffer when OBS is saying, oh, I'm starting to record your videos now, or when it's already in full swing when it started or started. That's why it has the started option right there. And on the same manner, we have the stopping, because again, when it's trying to stop, it's trying to save it down as a specific MP4 player, or depending on the settings that you've set for yourself when it's trying to record. Some of the video or the file configurations can be paused or unpaused. Some of them cannot pause or unpause. It has to stop, and then it has to stop rendering and then compile itself as a actual MP4 file. On my end, I want my file to go as an MP4, so it's easier for me to slide through my video editing software or whatever I want to do with it. It's easily transmittable. It just comes down to preference, but whatever floats your boat, it's your call. Okay, so how do you see this in action? On my end, I already pre-programmed mine OBS setup to, or my touch portal setup to accommodate this specific idea. So let me go to my OBS. This is what my OBS controller looks like. And in mobile, let me show you. This is what my OBS controller looks like. Boom. You see this bottom part? It says when it's recording, it will show the icon as red, started or stopped, right? So that's just what I take, because for me, my PC is more of the mid-range type, so it doesn't take too long for it to start recording, if you get what I mean. I just click the button and wait for a second, it start to record, and it will change the icon. So I recommend you doing this configuration. So what you can see here on my icon right now, or this is my OBS controller that I pre-programmed for myself. I already have set the controller for recording because we are currently recording via OBS. Right there. Boom. And it's also indicative right here in OBS. Next, let's go to sample. Next configuration, you have on streaming state. So it's the same idea as what we have with the recording state, only now it's when you're streaming. Go figure. You can also configure it to say, oh, if it's not starting or started, then do this. Well, to be honest, this is just a negative qualifier for a specific verb or action that will take place or has taken place. So it doesn't really matter how you preface your argument or your event trigger. Again, I have done this trigger as well. I can't click the go live button right now for you, precisely because I'm using it to record this tutorial for you. But what I can do is show it to you in action in OBS. This button on the bottom part right here, actually, it has an on event option to show that if it has already started streaming, it will show this icon. If I have stopped streaming, it will show this icon instead. All right, cool. There's a bonus tip, and this is my giveaway for you guys. I created a 4-button controller for you in OBS, and it already incorporates that into the button. So on a touch of a button, on a click of a button, it will already start streaming for you and start recording. For most of you guys who are new in OBS, when you start to stream, that doesn't mean that OBS also starts to record, and vice versa. In this manner, you are sure that when you click that button, you are streaming and you're also recording your stream. Neat. On that side, I also put in an event trigger saying that, oh, hey, if the trigger state is off, because I put a trigger state here instead of a OBS trigger, I said, hey, if the trigger state is on, then turn it off, because I want the off side to reflect everything as stopped. Else, turn on the button state and start everything else. Makes sense, right? So here, I'm going to say that, oh, if it's on, meaning you're live, it will show this. If it's off, it will say this. All right. I also used a live streaming or a video clip and a video camera icon to depict that, so that if you have different languages, that's fine. You can change it here. I've just showed you how it is. Cool. Next, let me go back to sample. Let's go to tests. So I've already done this too. Then we can go to on scene selected. So this is also another trigger to say that, oh, hey, if there's an on screen selected, I would, if a screen has been selected, say for example, scene number 2, then do this for me. All right. In my own OBS controller, I'll show you, these are all my preset scenes on the bottom hand side. And if you look at my event trigger, it just says if I click this button, MTGO, so MTG online, that is under my main number 2 or main 2. That's how I name my scene, so that whenever I change the visual aspect of the scene, I don't have to like reconfigure my touch portal. Tip number 3 for you guys, right? When you're trying to build your specific stream scenes, stray away from specifically naming that scene, because what you would end up doing is that you would have to remap those in touch portal. Instead, what I do is that I have a number sequence. So that means that I have three major games that I play: MTGA, MTG Arena, which would be my main number 1, MTGO, which is my MTG Online, which is my main number 2, and Dota, which is my main number 3. Therefore, if I would change the games, I will just change the games in either main 1, main 2, main 3. I don't have to rename all of my buttons then. Neat, right? And everything else like BRB or be right back screen, just chatting screen, intro screen, and yeah, net screen. That means that I'm just showing my web browser. Those are just under scene number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's my tip for you. Just make sure that you rename the title here if you haven't memorized your scene sequence. But for me, I memorized my scene sequence. I would recommend that for you as well. You can also do it the other way around. You can also say that, oh, we have 5 or at least 5 basic principles of scenes. So you have your intro, outro, BRB, chess chatting, and games. You can name that and then map it here. And then just use those 5. You just interchange the scenes in between. You just rename it in OBS instead. Right? Cool. Going back to this one. So to demonstrate what I was referring to a while ago, in my OBS, if I click on events here, I would say if the main 2 is active, then I would like to change my icon to show that it's green. And I'm saying that it's MTGO. So green to me says that it's live. Plus, as I mentioned a while ago, I did purchase the visual upgrades. So I want to put in some lights so that whenever I'm in the dark playing, I can see that, oh, clearly I'm on number 2. And on top of that one, I also have this visual, which we will get in a few. Okay. Right. To demonstrate this, I will be transitioning to my phone that I'm filming my cam so that you can see what we're working with. Let me just set this one up. I'm going to enable the view. It's going to be trippy. Boom. All right. So this is my touch portal. If I press, what you call this, net. Let's press net. Boom. It will change the aspect of the screen. Plus you're here. Plus it's color green. Yep. That's it. Actually, as a bonus for this one, I also did this in the TDE. Let me show this to you. And then from there, I would go to sample. Then I would go to, I'll set this one to navigate to, and go to a page. I would page OBS. TDE. TD OBS. TDE OBS button. Save. Cool. Now we can go back to home. Go back to my sample file, click the OBS file. All right, cool. All right, now I'm going to show you, boom, what we'll have, we will have when I press our action key right here that I pre-made for you. Say for example, I put in main one for you, assuming that you only have 5 major scenes. Press scene number 2, that will change the scene. It will say live. Scene number 3 will say live. Scene number 4 live, and scene number 5. And this is a buttons that I will be giving away for you guys. Preset this for you, where the naming convention is that your gaming and scene, if you name your gaming scene in your OBS as main 1, it should map directly with this main 1. And this is just mapped to your scene 2, this naming convention. So you can just do that one. Scene 3, scene 4, scene 5, right? The way I do it is that your main should be your game. Scene number 2 usually is your face cam or just chatting. This is when you want to engage with your chat. So that's why they're both on top. We're both showing them on top. 3, 4, and 5 is basically either BRB on the bottom right, and intro in the middle, and outro on number 5. Either or. So that's how I would sequence my play. After that, we have your on-source visibility change. So this is the same concept as we had a while ago for when the scene is selected, only that this time, if a source is visible. Remember when I told you a while ago that my effects are actually just hiding sources and opening them? So in this specific instance, I already pre-made some effects on my end. So let me show you what we're working with right now. In my OBS, I already have, say for example, these effects on the left-hand side, which is categorized by the small circular buttons here. And say for example, if my Drake is playing on event, it would say, it will change it to live. I'm using the button state changes, but you can easily replace this with the on-source visibility change. The reason why I stay away from the on-source visibility change is because I like playing around with my effects, and I like renaming them in accordance to what the effect actually does. In this specific example, I got Drake on green screen doing his Hotline Bling, and I'm setting it to a different song that makes it a bit more fun for me. So if I name it Drake, that means that if I delete that specific source, then I have to go on my events and change the name convention to Drake. So instead, what I do is I do what I usually, what I did before that I showed you, is to set a scene, or is to set the state of the button to turn on and off instead. In that way, I don't have to go on events and rename them. I just have to go here on the special effects right here and change the effect name. Okay, so to demonstrate what it does for us, I'm going to change a scene to my main cam, which is, say, MTGA. Boom, you'll still see me there on frame. However, in this specific scene and layout, I have already layered my effects. So if I click my Drake for you, Alright, so that said, I also incorporated this in our TDE. So let me show you how to get there. In my file right here, the next scene would be to mute. This is to mute my mic and OBS. This is to mute the game sound, which I'll show you what I programmed it a while ago next so that you can change it on your own. And then these ones are for your effects. I will program them like what I programmed a while ago to show you what I did. So I will just go to my OBS and get all of these copied and go to paste copied action, and it says live, and then I would just say effect 1, save. That's it. And then you can put in on effect, on press, turn on and off, or off. Let me put a placeholder effect here for you. So what I would do is I would go to the X values and say toggle button state. All right, it's going to delete and this button, this button, this button, this button, and this button. Then I'm going to copy this button for you. All right, so let me do this logic for you. So what I will do is that I will do a if statement. I'll say that if this button state is on, then I would say change the button state to off. Else you can say the button state is on. Then all you gotta do is insert your OBS set source filter right here, or set source visibility right here. Just put it there, and put it here. You can put it here as show or hide because this is off. Then the other one should be show. All right, let's put in a placeholder here for you. Placeholder effect. Say I would go with main number 1 and then source. Let's go with mic source instead. Okay. Let's don't forget to turn this off. All right. I will be copying this one, pasting this all again here, and this one I would show. All right. Save it down. This is what you will see, and then all you have to do is change the scene and the mic or this source name when you have your effects already layered. Now, this is your tip number 4. What I do on my end is that, remember when I told you that I'm nesting all of my camera? I'm also nesting all of my effects. So all of my effects are hosted in one scene. I call it the special effects scene. And I just layer all of my VLC sources, media sources out there, and some green screened photos out there. And that's what I use. I nest that into my scenes. So let me show you what I mean. And you see that I have nested, or I put my scene as a source. In that way, you don't have to map a lot of special effects per scene. All you gotta do is map it on your special effect scene. So that's another tip for you. And this is to do with scene filter visibility change. This is the same thing that I have demonstrated a while ago about putting in visibility on your filter on the scene. Remember when I tried to blur my main cam because I've nested my scene? So this is just turning it off and on. It's the same principle as how we have with source visibility change. So if you want to implement this in the buttons I will be giving away, or on your buttons as well, just replace this command with this command. Easy. Next is we have on source mute state. Now this is how I did your second page button, because it will control the audio interface of your actual OBS, right? So for this effect, what we did was, let's go to buttons, boom, all right? I went onto the mic right here, and I put on press to toggle your microphone settings. Now, just a caveat, right, guys? If you have a mic and you have it already set up in OBS, if you can rename that source as mic, this will automatically link it to your mic. Else, you can just try to find your source here once it's connected. If you don't want to rename your mic, that's cool. However, if you rename this, you must change the on event as well. So on event, you have also the source mapped here and here. So just don't forget to remap these items. So this is how it works. Again, I'm just toggling between mute and unmute. So if you click it, it becomes muted. You'll see it go down. You won't hear me muted here because I'm using my lavalier mic. I'm not using my actual mic here. And if you click it, it comes unmute. All right. Now that's done, we can proceed here. So same thing with this specific item. I just mapped it as mic. However, the intention of this button is you can either map your game output source or your music with this specific microphone, or no, this specific button, so that it reflects in accordance. Let me just refresh. All right, let me just put in on events. unmuted. All right. I think I unmuted, muted. That should be the case. Save. Same thing here. Muted, unmuted. All right, save. Refresh. All right. Dealer's choice, whichever you like. Okay. Next. Then we have your on CPU event. Okay. So on CPU event is basically saying that, if you want to know what your CPU usage is, or temperature, I believe no, CPU usage is similar to what you see on the bottom hand side of your PC right here, CPU usage or FPS, you can use either or all of these commands. Say for example, to get OBS CPU, you use this command, $OBS_CPU, the same but only whole numbers, underscore no digits. If you want the FPS of your OBS, we can do that one as well. And you can see free disk space, disk memory, and OBS memory usage. But I'll do you a solid. So on our free giveaway, on this bottom part here, I'll put on event, and it will show us on CPU usage. It will show us the CPU usage, which will be helpful. OBS_CPU add, and we can go also for FPS. Okay, you can do either. You can also, let's save that there. Let's try to see if it's using it here. The statistics has changed, and you will see this is your OBS CPU usage right here. But if you want, you can also change this to FPS. All you gotta do is go to this side, go to events, and on the bottom part, change the naming convention. Or if you can't change the naming convention, and if you want them to swap in between, you can just add another CPU update event, and you can just say $OBS_FPS add, save. Boom. That's it. And it should reflect we are at 30 FPS right now. And then if my CPU usage change, it should change to the CPU usage number, 5.8. And then revert back to 30. So it's flickering in between. This should help you when you're navigating through OBS using your touch portal. All right, cool. Now that's done. Let's proceed. So we are now on the third to the last portion of the tutorial. On source filter visibility. This is basically a source filter. As I made mention a while ago, I only have like the Baikanojitsu that I put in as an effect, and it says it should be is or is not, the thing that should show here. Unfortunately, there's something a little bit wrong with my my recording right now. That's why it's not showing. And then you can put in an event to say go to the previous web page, or like do something, right? It's easy. All right. I won't be doing that one because it's repetitive. It's basically the same as what we have with source visibility, only this time that it's actually on source filter visibility. Okay. All right. We are now on the good part. We have on replay buffer status change. It becomes starting, started, or stopped. So OBS has a replay buffer. If you're familiar with doing a replay, or you want to clip a replay, you can press a button a while ago. That's why I made mention it about replays. If you're not familiar with it, that's fine. You can skip this. No biggie. It works similarly as what we showed you a while ago with scene transitions, filter being coming up and down, or like visible, not visible. And last but not least, you have your option to scene output to icon event. All right. This is how you see the preview of your OBS screen. Okay. That's all it does. Now you can say, you can set this one to a specific view. So say for example, you want this to be only looking at main one, which is your source, or you can set this to say current scene. So you have your either current scene and current preview scene. So if you're doing a studio mode wherein you have your preview scene and a current scene, then you have your transition button in between, you can use that one. All right. How does this work? So let me show you. If we go to my sample, if I go to the preview scene, or like your current scene right now, the next thing that you want to set is how many frames per second does it output as an image. The higher the frame, the higher requirement it is for your computer or your mobile to transfer data in between. So there's a little bit of lag and the quality stays the same, right? So for me, a frame per second is fine because I'm going to look at it on my mobile device anyway. I just want to have a ballpark of what's happening in my specific view. So if I click OK for this one, I'll save this. You'll see that this one would change, right? If we delete these buttons and make it bigger, we'll remove the button because it supersedes everything else. You'll see the name convention will change. If I refresh this one down, put that event back, current scene, 1 frame per second and medium, you'll see this come through. The thing that I forgot to mention a while ago is that on event button doesn't work if you don't have anything that is on pressed button. So let's do that again. Current view, medium, 1 pressed, and let's go for on pressed, and I'll just put in a placeholder to say change button state, save it down. Oh, it's a preview state, sorry. I don't have preview scene right now, so boom, there you go. It's showing you what my OBS is looking at right now. If you want to make it bigger, you can just increase your button size and it should reflect on your mobile. Boom, it's making it bigger. If we try to make the frames bigger, so say for example, the maximum is 12 frames per second, and we'll do a high resolution, it should be pretty clear on what's happening. There's a slight lag, if you see, on what we're doing here. However, the reason why I'm not recommending this too much to you is that because we're using a free version, you won't have enough buttons to accommodate this anyway. So that's the reason why. If you look at my button on OBS, it's accommodating at least, if you see this on the left hand side, 1, 2, 3, or if I show you on the bigger screen, it's actually accommodating 1, 2, 3 button, 1, 2, 3 button height, and then it's accommodating 1, 2, 3, 4 button. So it's 3 by 4 buttons, right? That's a lot of buttons just to show me this screen. So, however, if you just want that approximation, what you can do on the free giveaway that I'm going to give you is this home button. You can actually put an event there and say on screen output, use current scene, 1 frame per second, and set it to low. All right. In that way, if we go to your OBS screen, and then what you can do there is you can actually click this one and either remove the icon button. Let's remove it there so that you can see the output instead of the home page button. In that way, it will show in that manner. All right, cool. And that's the last part of these OBS and action buttons tutorial for now. Let me show you what this will look like if you're not using a tablet, what my free giveaway would look like if you're not using a tablet and you're using just a mobile device. Should be neat. Boom! So if you could see the view of your OBS, my free buttons that I'm going to give away, and you're going to use your mobile device like this, it should fit perfectly rather than if it's just if you're just using the tab. Now, if you are using your tab, I would highly recommend going for the pro version of your touch portal. I would gladly give away that page, the icon, the things that I made for free to you. I mean, this is just like things that you can do on your end anyway. And with a little bit of Google search and researching, you can do the things that we're going to do here. We also have a community, Discord community out there. If you go back to our screen, on this little button here, Discord, you can click that and it will take you to the official Touch Portal Discord. If there are questions that you want me to answer, drop them in the comment section down below or catch me on stream. Or if you can't and you need a quick answer, you can go to this Discord. These guys out there are much more professional in this field than I am. I'm quite sure they'll be able to answer your question. All right, cool. There you have it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. You have made it at the end of the video, and as promised, this is my gift to you, or the bonus. I'm giving away this pages of Touch Portal, the one I'm showing on screen right now. 1, 2, 3. All you gotta do is go to the Discord link down below and download the actual TPI pages and upload it into your device. It's as easy as going to Discord. Here's my Discord. Just download all of these 3. Then from there, you have these on your computer now. Go to Manage Page. From there, you can say Import Page. You click Import Page. Go to your desktop and or download or the download folder. Click that one and click Open. Once you click that Open, it will ask you if it would import global values. Just say yes, and there you have it. Easy peasy. All right, there you have it, guys. Simple as that. However, I really like this specific program. It's very, very cheap compared to its comes down to preference for me, as again can't justify the cost of Elgato into my system as of yet. And $12 for a lifetime usage of this device. 110 buttons, unlimited pages. Not bad. Right, cool. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to thumbs up, subscribe, and as always, guys, stay safe. Pow.